Josh.
He's unable to be here today.
Okay.
Well,
We have three.
it's 10 o'clock, so I will call the meeting to order. Let's stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, just a little bit of housekeeping. We have Commissioner Hallen on remote. Chair Moore and Commissioner Waldheim are on excused absences today, so they're per Minnesota statutes. It still requires 3 votes to pass anything, so essentially that means we're going to need a unanimous decision today to on a vote in order for it to be affirmative. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we will move to public forum. Does anybody wish to speak on public forum today? Yes, Glenn. And reminder, we have 3 minutes, so I'll let our administrator be the timekeeper. So go ahead, Glenn.
Glenn Slottick, 73261 Markville Road, Sandstone, Minnesota. On this spongy mott spraying you're gonna do to save Jeff a phone call from me this time, like happened here a couple of years ago on July 9th. And then I had to call the state to get what they're spraying on top of me. I wasn't underneath the spray pattern, but I come from a world of big ag down by Hutchinson, and I don't like spray planes at all. I don't know what's left in the tanks from the prior applications. I don't like what's in them on the current application when they're doing it. So I just wish you guys, before you approve that, find out what's in there and what they're spending. And the lady, she's quite sarcastic because I can be that way too. I probably prompted it on the conversation 2 years ago. But I said, what is it you're putting on? I don't even know. I just see that. She goes, you're not under the pattern. I said, I got pictures of them and stuff coming out of the left wing as it's going over my place up there. And she said it was a pheromone. It wasn't even an insecticide. I said, really? She goes, it's classified as insecticide. I said, well, there you are. So is it or isn't it? And stuff like, do the homework and let the peoples know what's going on. Because I consider it a terroristic activity when I got a spray plane coming over my house, dropping stuff on me that I don't know what it is. Anyway, on the bright side, went to Webster High School in Wisconsin. I don't know how many minutes I got left. 4. Anyway, on that Webster High School has a fantastic program for the trades up there in Wisconsin. I don't know if anybody's ever gone to that partnership with that Nexium or whatever. They got huge community support. There's a lot of good stuff that goes on in these communities up here too. So hopefully you got some partnerships like that with Pine Tech, with the high school and stuff. Just your community service happiness. Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn.
How many minutes was it?
You got 55 seconds left.
Anybody else who wish to speak in public forum? We have anybody online? Nobody online. Anyone else? Okay, great, thanks. We will next move to adopting the agenda.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I do have a couple changes or corrections. For regular agenda item number 1, it says for the facilities committee report, it says the personnel committee made the recommendation. It should say the facilities committee made the recommendation.
Yeah.
And then just in addition to regular item, or an addition, and we're going to place that as regular item 4.1, as it goes along with that, with the contract that's being awarded is an agreement with MnDOT for that local bridge replacement program. So we'll place that as item 4.1.
Any other corrections?
I'll move as amended, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda for the discussion. Here, we have to call the roll. Okay,
Commissioner Ludwig,
Aye.
it's Commissioner Holland,
Yeah, aye.
Commissioner Nelson.
yes. Motion approved. Item E, approved minutes of the February 3rd meeting and the summary for publication.
I'll move that, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a second. Further discussion? Okay, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Allen,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Okay, affirmative, motion passes. We move to item F, minutes, boards, committees, and correspondence. Looks like we have one correspondence, is that correct?
Correct.
And that is just, we don't need a motion, we just, or
We do.
we do need a motion to,
I'll move that.
I'll second.
okay, we have a motion, a second. For the discussion, call the roll, please. Thanks.
Commissioner Allen,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, we move to item G, approval of consent agenda. We have a number of things on consent.
I'll move that. And just on a side note, in response to Glenn, I believe we've had several presentations on the spongy moth thing over the years. And it's actually a, what is it called, Matt? It's a reproductive, so the moths can't reproduce. It screws up their biological system. And we have some brochures. If you want to stop over at Forestry, they probably have a brochure they could give you, Glenn.
Got that, Mr. Chair? Yes. It's a bacterium or whatever, and it's.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a common thing that it only affects that moth.
Great, I'm still looking for a second to that one.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second to approve the consent. Any further discussion on the consent? The discussion, can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludwig,
Aye.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. Okay, we will now move to regular agenda. Facilities Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll take. We met on February 4th and I'll consider the following items. Moving forward with the reorganizing the employees into existing buildings. And I think we had discussion about that movement up here from the Silver Building over to here. That was the one thing. And authorize the purchases up to 2 shipping containers for evidence storage if needed over the course as they need them. And then we're solicit quotes for the updating the lighting in the jail. So, and I will move those, Mr. Chair, for considering.
Okay, so we have a motion to move ahead with the recommendations A, B, and C.
I do have some questions, but I will second the motion.
Okay, great. We have a second. So now discussion, Commissioner Allen.
Yeah, Commissioner Ludwig, the movement of people we've discussed in the past to move between buildings and stuff, will there be some construction that has to happen before to have separation of spaces?
I think there will be some, but it's gonna be minor.
Just minor?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's mostly just those temporary walls in the Silver Building. And over here, I don't think there's gonna be any in the new building.
okay, all right.
I do have a question. So can you run down, just give me just an overview of what that reorganization would kind of look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So members of the board, what the vision is that zoning and soil and water would move into the southern part of the NPGC here. And we would reorganize our zoning staff so that we would then have an administrative assistant position who would be sitting at the front desk here. And so that wouldn't be an increase in head count of existing staff. It would just be repurposing positions. So then this front door would be open again. That position wouldn't be really helping HHS clients, but yet there would be a person there to let them know, you know, you need to call your worker, and things like that. And then that entire silver building then would become the sheriff's office.
It'll be a human point of contact at least, so they have an explanation.
So
I like that idea.
there's room here for the HHS stuff to still take place?
Right, yep, so HHS would just be on this completely north side. And so like the workroom is on that south side, but soil and water and zoning don't have any like private information. So it wouldn't be a problem for HHS staff to go over and use the workroom on that side because none of our information is private. We don't have that security or concerns.
Which happens over there at the Silver Building. It's hard to, because people coming in and out of there that sometimes are showing up for interviews, go to the wrong door, and then staff are dealing with people that law enforcement should be dealing with. So it doesn't happen often, but there is, our staff will be better here, I think, for that part of it.
Yeah, so the one thing that is tentative though is just that reorganization of zoning staff to make that administrative assistant position. And so that is underway within the personnel committee.
And so, then our front door would no longer be, it would be accessible, especially people using veterans and such.
Correct.
Okay, my last question is with with the sheriff's department taking over there, that's not gonna create a conflict with the highway. Highway's okay with that? Okay, great. Did we had a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Item, let's see,
One.
1. No other discussion? Let's call the roll.
Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Commissioner Hallen,
Yes,
Commissioner Nelson.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. We will move to number 2, Public Safety Committee. Matt, once again.
I'll handle that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had the meeting and of course you saw in your packet today that the hazardous mitigation plan, that's an update of a continuing plan with current updates. That's a lot to read, so I'm not going to cover that. You all have a copy of that. And then during that discussion, we talked about adding a canine officer, which would bring the canine officer up to 4, which is equal to the number of shifts. So to explain that, we don't have to add there was a deputy that is so into canine operation that he purchased the dog himself, went through all the training, got certified, and on his own expense. Not looking for reimbursement. He just wants to function as a canine officer. So the added expense is going to be what the dog would add to over the long term, you know, that kind of thing. And it's roughly $10,000 a year. But I can't speak detail to the shift work that's going to happen, but it fills up the need for to cover all 4 shifts with the dog. They cover that pretty good, Jeff?
I think so. I can answer more questions with that.
Yeah. So. And that's about it.
Okay. Looking for, oh, go ahead, Steve.
oh, I thought you were looking for a motion or a second.
I'm looking for a motion.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Okay, further discussion. I do have a question for the sheriff. So this canine, it's a little bit unconventional in sense of how it traditionally has been handled. And I just want to make sure that you're okay with that.
Yeah, there are a couple things that we need to work out to finalize it. So I would say right now it's not a guaranteed it's going to happen. And we will double check on some of the stuff again to make sure that it's all good. But it is probably a $20,000 addition donation. So we have had donations before. It's usually been on the front end of a fresh dog and then the training that goes with it. And this is kind of on the back end of that training. So the dog's ready to go once it gets certified. It hasn't gone through the certifications yet, so that's one of the things that needs to happen. Again, to guarantee that it's a good working dog. So it's more of the approval to get it moving in that direction.
So this would be, let's just say, compare it to like traditional methodology. It is a cost savings. I mean, in a
Yes.
sense of it's.
You're getting a piece of equipment,
Yes.
if you will, that again has about a $20,000 value when you get a dog and the training to go into it to make it a working dog. There is cost associated with maintenance. Again, if you look at it like a car,
Right.
Equipment, there is that cost that would be an annual cost. In my opinion, it's worth it because what dogs give us, we can't necessarily replicate any other way. So having a dog available more is the goal.
Okay.
And having that ability to back up other dogs too, if it's a long protracted type incident where we have those available without calling another agency or having to go without.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, do you need this approval before you can go forward with the certification?
Yes, so the way the certification works, my understanding is they won't certify a dog unless it is sponsored or allocated to an agency. So we have to have the approval before they'll let them into a certification.
If the certification doesn't happen, then there's no.
Then I would walk away from the deal too, right? And that's.
Any other questions on this?
Yeah, I'm sure you've gone through this with the county attorney that any liability, we are insured the same as we are with any other dog. And because are we renting this dog or does he become part of our police force? Is it a true donation?
Yeah, in my mind it is. Again, I don't know that we specifically went through that with the county attorney on the process, but to me, it would be a donation to the county, just like any other one. That would be our property while they're in service. And then when it's pulled out of service, retired, it would be like any of the other canines. They have the handlers, they have the opportunity to keep the animal or not.
I was gonna go there too, Steve, because is it gonna be a contract basis then, or is he gonna be a sworn officer? Because the dog will be sworn as an officer, basically, to the.
Right, it'd be like any, I don't know that there's any other way to make it legit unless ownership goes.
Yeah, it's a paper.
I just have a question, Mr. Chair. Which it's all speculative at this point, but let's say that this doesn't pan out with this dog. Would you be then seeking to fill a fourth spot for a dog?
At this point, I wouldn't come back right away with that. I mean, it's always been a thought to have them kind of paired up in teams, so you have that availability. This one came up because it was available, I guess. So if this one doesn't pan out, I wouldn't be back the next month asking to go buy one, I don't think.
Okay, great. Any other questions on this subject?
My only question would be for Reese, does that work out the way we're doing this?
Correct, yeah. I mean, so Commissioner Ludwig, you mean with respect to the donation to the county? Yeah, as long as the county owns it as property and the board accepts that donation, then I think we should be okay, especially with being under MCIT for that.
Okay, I did have a question regarding hazardous mitigation because it was in part of your report. Do we have to, I mean, it's a pretty thick. Do we as a board approve that or at some point, or does that, I just wondered about the process of
Yeah,
that.
so that's item number 6 on
It
the
is.
regular agenda.
Okay, good. 6.
Yeah, I just
So we'll
stuck it
just
in
wait
there
until-
because it was
there
in
was.
that- stuck it in because it was a part of that committee.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second on item number 2A. No further discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Hollis,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, next we will move to Personnel Committee report.
If that's me again, Mr. Chair. We met on February 9th. In the sheriff's office. We're considering the authorization to begin recruitment for a higher head deputy sheriff position. Due to the ongoing employee leaves and an upcoming retirement. With a review of during the 2027 budget process. And I'll speak now because you wonder what the leaves are, that there's potentially up to 7 officers that could go out on leave over the course of the summer and the months of the summer with the new Family Medical Leave Act. And it's just the way the law is, and it's going to hit the supply side of officers pretty hard. So that's part of that, but, and then in Public Works, do you want to do these one at a time or can I do this as a group?
I guess let's do your whole report and we'll see where it
Okay.
goes.
Okay. Public Works has increased the grades of building maintenance worker from a grade 3 to a grade 5. And the building maintenance worker from a grade 5 to a grade 8. And the updated job descriptions and the authorization for the Human Resources Director to complete the memorandum of agreement with the exclusive representation on the boards for the building maintenance worker and building maintenance worker lead. Improve and the increase for from a grade 7 to a grade 8 for highway maintenance mechanic, updated job description and authorize the Human Resources Director to complete the memorandum of agreement with exclusive representation and to establish grade 8 wages with a highway mechanic position. And then acknowledge the resignation of highway maintenance worker Jeff Skalicki effective February 13th, and backfill will be considered at a later date. Environmental Services, approve replacement of vacant grade 8 environmental tech position with a grade 11 deputy environmental services manager that would better support the department operations and provide a long-term continuity, approving our corresponding job description and any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transition. And Health and Human Services, acknowledge the resignation of adult and families eligibility worker Stacy Bissick effective February 6th, and approve the backfill of the position and any lateral movements that happen subsequent to that transfer.
Okay,
And I'm open for questions.
yeah, there's a whole bunch of things here. Maybe first, rather than having to go through everyone individually, if there's something that a commissioner wants to pull out, fine, we can certainly do that. But if we're okay with that and somebody wants to make a motion for the whole works, I'll be looking for that as well.
It's your
I'm
report,
willing-
Matt.
I'm willing to move this, but then if there's discussion, we can have that before we vote and then do it there too. So it's up to you, Mr. Chair. I will move, I'll move to move forward with these.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now discussion on this whole plethora.
It's a big one.
Yes.
I'm sure I'm sure the committee did a cost analysis because anytime you change grades, it does change our budget.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, I can speak to that if you would like.
Yep.
Yes, so especially with the public works ones, that will increase the budget. However, Mark does a very good job at managing his budget. And so he can speak to kind of how he'll work through that, but I feel confident that he will work within the existing confines of the budget.
Yeah, as far as the building maintenance, our budget's been running under for the last few years, so, it could be a, $10,000 cost to the department. But when you look at having 3 staff, you know, we've added this building, we've got a lot of space. And I think if you checked with any school districts or other counties or cities, you'd find that we're really not spending much on our building maintenance staff. So they have a lot of responsibility. So when Pete's not around, then someone's got to do his duties. I can help, but I'm not as good as his staff, and so I think in the past, the supervisor position that's going to an 8 was actually rated an 8 back then. For whatever reason, it wasn't moved up. And then the other position, now that we have cleaning contracts and such, is more of a maintenance type position rather than just cleaning.
Yeah, I can add something there too. Just so when, the way it was explained to me, when we were paying these people, they were kind of on a scale or their job description. It's like they were janitors. Well, they're much more than janitors. They're running all the, keeping the plant, running all the buildings. I mean, they're building the stuff and placing doors. I mean, it's a lot because we have a lot of buildings. So they just went through the job descriptions too. So there were some changes there.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, and then on the mechanic position, we've tried to fill that, and the pay has been an issue. And the biggest issue is it's a physical job, and most people don't want to work a physical job if they can work a non-physical job nowadays. And so we've had several people we've hired as mechanics end up just wanting to be a highway maintenance worker and drive truck because it's a lot easier and it isn't much of a pay difference. And so we looked at Jackie looked at, at the position, and, the physical aspect of it really wasn't getting accounted for. So I think that's a fair assessment. And we do, I think financially, we're certainly going to be able to absorb it. We've got several retirements coming up, and we've had vacant positions that we can't fill. So I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. So.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions on the? I did have a question on the environmental services one. So with this moving to the tech, moving to a services manager, we've had some issues with shortage of techs. How are we going to be managing that?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this deputy environmental services manager, so we currently, without this position, we'd have 2 techs, one that's focused on wetlands and shoreline permitting, and then one that's septics and shoreline permitting. And really the work is enough for just 2 techs. The problem comes in is when one of them is gone, where by elevating somebody to a deputy manager position, this way they can fill in wherever's needed if one of those techs is gone. And it also is kind of a backfill should the manager be gone as well. So it is a position that can flow either way this way.
So they'll still be able to do all the technical work that in both areas.
Right, that is the intention. It wouldn't be like their daily work. They would just be doing it, they'd be assisting the technicians when the technicians need help or they're on vacation. For the more complex projects. So it's really a flexible position to help the department as a whole.
Okay, great. Any further discussion or questions? No, I'm good.
No,
Okay, so we have a motion to approve items A through D of the personnel report as listed. No other discussion? Well, let's call the roll, please.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludwig,
Hi.
Commissioner Hallen.
aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Moving on to item 4, contract.
Yeah, so we opened up bids last week and on the 46 bridge in Sturgeon Lake. Got 3 really good bids, so we're real happy with the bids we got. We had a lot of interest in the project as well. And so I'd recommend awarding to Redstone Construction for $2,020,441.95. It's 3.8% under, so we like to see that. They've got 2 crews available, and so they're gonna start in 2 weeks.
Oh,
We've got the water restrictions the state has set up over the years, so we have to be out of the water by April 15th. I can't go back in until July 1, so makes it very challenging to build bridges in the state. But they've got a plan to get in, and be out by early April. And then they've checked and all the beams and the bearings, all those things they can get and keep it on schedule. So we should be able to have the bridge done in early June. So otherwise we start in July and we're into October and the weather gets crazy. So we're pretty happy that they proposed to come in a couple of weeks. And so we'll be putting up signs and working with the school to make sure the buses can get around. So questions on that?
Great.
That's great.
No other questions? No.
Mhm.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve.
I'll move that.
I'll second it. So we have a motion, a second, further discussion? And none, let's call the roll, please.
Commissioner Ludwig,
Aye.
Commissioner Hallen,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson.
Yes. Motion passes. Okay, 4.1, MnDOT.
Yeah, and so as part of that project, I don't know if you remember, we delayed it a year because we were hoping to get some money. So we ended up getting $866,946.50 towards the project. So I guess patience paid off. And as part of that, of course, MnDOT has some humongous agreement. I think they just don't want us to sell the bridge property or something. Bond funds. So I'm sure you all read that this weekend. And then we also need a resolution just to double check. So it's a lot of paperwork, but I think essentially they're trying to meet some legal obligation. I'm sure Reese could talk about it for a while. But we need a motion to approve the resolution included as well as the agency agreement.
I will move that, the resolution and the agency agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the agreement and the resolution. Good. Any further discussion? We'll ask the roll be called.
Commissioner Hallen,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thanks,
next-
Mark.
Thank you. Next, we will move to item 5, Pokegama Lake Grant Application Fiscal Agent.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Nielsen from Pokegama Lake Association. I was before you last year to tell you about our fantastic nanobubbles project in the North Bay of the lake. We do not yet have the full scientific report on that. It should be out by the end of the month. But the LCCMR grant application period is open, and we had such amazing visual results on the project last year that we want to move forward and are moving forward with a grant application to the LCCMR for environmental and natural resource trust fund funding for a full lake project for 2027. And part of that grant application requires us to have a fiscal agent to manage the reimbursement process for that grant, should we be blessed to receive those funds. And so we are here today to ask for your authorization to have Pine County serve as the fiscal agent for that grant.
Okay, great.
I-
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask, I got one question.
Sure.
And to Kelly, I would guess, do we have the capacity to do that?
Yeah, so in chatting with Kathy, it sounds like it's going to be a very minimal number of invoices, like potentially 1 or 2.
Okay.
So it's really not that significant amount of work. It's a significant amount of money, but yet it really isn't. I mean, it's one receipt of the money in and paying it out, and it shouldn't be a huge burden or much of a burden at all.
Thank you.
So can you tell us again, I'm sure it's in it somewhere, but what is the dollar amount that you're applying for?
We are requesting about $3 million.
And how long are you anticipating that project, if approved, to take? Because you're doing whole lake.
Great question. So I'm not exactly sure what the timeline's going to be for the installation. If we are awarded the grant, that final decision wouldn't be made until next summer, maybe July of 2027. We should have a sense well before then as to whether or not we're in line for those funds. It's a matter of building these units. So the project would be 2 large floating barges, each with 2 containers on them that have the equipment. So it would be a matter of running electrical under the water, connecting it to these pieces of equipment and turning them on. The equipment has a life expectancy of 30 to 40 years. So it's a long-term project. We would need to establish a lake improvement district to cover the ongoing maintenance and operations. So we're here today to request your support in getting the capital funding for the purchase of the equipment. And then the next 6 months, I'll be working on trying to get the Lake Improvement District established contingent upon the receipt of these funds and the implementation of the project. So then we would be coming back to you again to partner with us on the Lake Improvement District.
So do they sit on a platform on the water when it operates then, or how does that work? Or is it set?
Yeah, so there'll be floating barges and the containers sit on the barges. Typically, you want to have those barges on land, but because Pokegama Lake has almost an 8-foot bounce in any given year, we really
Yeah, so it
can't build up 8 feet and plop these containers down.
service the equipment. You have to go out on a boat then, or do you pull a barge? in?
You absolutely will have to go out on a boat. We are, yeah.
Oh, that's not our problem.
No, sir, that is mine.
So how does it affect the fishing and the lake activity? That's my other question. What do you do? Put something around it, a buffer zone, or you just let them fish right up to it, or?
You should be able to fish right up to it. The 2 areas where we are looking at placing the barges are not popular fishing areas.
Yes. Thank you.
Any other questions?
You have a question?
Sure, I can, do they come out in the winter or do
You
they?
do.
Okay.
Yeah, we, the barge components get lifted in by a crane, get assembled in the water. I have not seen this process yet. And then the containers get plopped on top of the barges and we push them out and anchor them in place and connect the electrical. It should be quite, it should be quite a
We need
thing.
pictures next time.
Yes, well, yeah, if this thing goes, there'll be, I'm sure, all kinds of cameras out there watching this happen.
Question is, so if you are not successful in this grant, then what's your plan?
Great question. There is no plan. We conducted a feasibility study on an alum treatment back in 2018. And the cost of the alum treatment at that time was estimated to be $2.9 million. Same cost as this equipment. Personally, I would not advocate for an alum treatment on our lake, while our TMDL study shows that 40% of the impairment is in the lake and 60% of the impairment is upstream. To put a $3 million investment of chemicals in the lake that typically has an effective life of 8 to 10 years. As a public policy wonk, I would not advocate for the use of those public policy dollars for that limited period of time. We can take that same $3 million and put in a system that's going to have a life expectancy of 30 to 40 years and will actually help address some of the internal load in the lake.
How do we address the upstream?
So the Snake River Management Group funded a sub-watershed assessment in 2024. That the Snake Soil and Water Conservation District, or excuse me, the Pine SWCD, is my understanding, and I think Paul's here, is going to start doing outreach based on that plan in this year. So we're hoping to get more upstream projects on the ground. Realistically, to clean up everything that needs to be addressed upstream. It's not going to clean the lake in my lifetime, maybe not in my grandchildren's lifetime. It's a long-term investment that will change the conditions in the lake very, very slowly over many decades. For people who want to address our persistent harmful algae blooms now, our options are an alum treatment, which I won't recommend from a public policy perspective, or this. Will there be other new technologies coming out in the next years and decades? I hope so. And if we don't win this grant and we can't use this technology, would a future lake association pursue that technology? I would certainly hope so.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I could, I applaud the Lake Association for looking at the long term and working closely with our soil and water folks and the Snake River projects. I've seen some great improvements through the adoption of a lot of policies that the Lower St. Croix Watershed District has implemented. So I'm really looking forward to what the Snake River One Watershed, One Plan can put forward and how it could help our lakes. So it doesn't look like the county's liability is very, very minimal, a little bit of time, basically. And I would support this.
My only reservation, it's not specific to this project, but it's in general, when you get a grant to start a project, and that's great. But then eventually somebody has to carry that on, and that's my hesitancy in where does the county come into play in that? And I don't know, but that's only I don't think that's a reason to not apply for the grant, but that may be something that we need to be cognizant of is.
Mr. Chair, does your model think that it can bring it up to speed in the lifetime of the grant getting?
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
The model of the stuff you're gonna put out there, the size and stuff, how long is it gonna take to clean up Pecayam itself? What's the estimate?
You will see an almost immediate impact on the lake. last year when we did our pilot project in the North Bay, which again has some of the worst water conditions in the lake. All last summer, they had the only spot on the lake that had clear, clean water. It's almost immediate.
That was a small plant to operate too.
That was a small trailer, and so this project is being sized for the size of the lake. It will be immediate.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Yeah, and the Lake Improvement District is the mechanism that will then own and operate this system into the future.
Great. I know Chair Moore was out there and he said, boy, the results looked really, he said, impressive.
Yeah.
From that test. Yeah. Yeah. So great, thanks. Further discussion?
Thank you.
Say, looking for a motion to approve the resolution, so that they can go forward with this.
I'll move it.
I'll second resolution 2026-06.
Yes. Okay, we have a motion and second on resolution 2026-6. Further discussion? None, let's call the roll, please.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludwig,
Aye.
Commissioner Howard.
Yes.
Motion passes. Great, we will move to number 6, Pine County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Denise.
Good morning, Denise Anderson with Pine County Sheriff's Office. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. We're in the final stages of adopting the hazard mitigation plan. We've been working with the U of M Spatial and Hunterizer Consulting on this for about 2.5 years. There's been multiple meetings for public input. The last open review was in December of 2025. Everybody received emails on that. Cities, townships, and partner jurisdictions were invited to participate and have. They've given their input. FEMA accepted this in January, and this is the last piece, the adoption.
I'll move it, Mr. Chair. Resolution 2026-05.
We have a motion.
I'll second it.
We have a second. Discussion.
Denise, can you remind me how long is this good for?
5 years.
5 years, okay. No wonder I've seen them a few times.
Yes.
So, Mr. Chair, can I have
Yes.
one point of clarification? Back when we were on the Public Safety Committee, I should clarify that those are two different plans. In the Public Safety Committee, we were talking about the Emergency Operations Plan, which is different than this plan, the Hazard Mitigation Plan. And I apologize. I had meshed them together there. And so if you wanted, could you talk briefly, Denise, about the difference between the two and that the Emergency Operations Plan is still coming?
It is.
For the.
I anticipate bringing that the end of next month to the second meeting.
Thank you. So questions about the hazardous mitigation plan? It's quite lengthy.
It is.
Lots of work.
No questions here.
Okay, no questions. With that, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor will call the roll.
Commissioner Ludwig,
Aye.
Commissioner Howland,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson.
Yes. Passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will move to Pine Soil and Water Conservation District 2025 updates. Paul.
Well, morning, everyone. Good morning, commissioners. I thought it would be a good idea to come to the county board and just talk about what the district was up to last year and just be available to answer any questions at the end of it. So this is just kind of an overview of some of the work that we did in 2025. So just kind of reviewing some of the activities and accomplishments, kind of 3 sections, projects, events, and kind of give a quick overview of the watersheds. All of the pictures in here are pictures that staff took throughout the year, different things that we've been working on. So projects, we saw the completion of 14 projects in 2025 with an additional 11 being contracted and in progress to completion. We hope most of those will be done here in 2026, barring bad weather or unforeseen circumstances. We also funded 2 additional internal lake assessment studies, one for Pine and Big Pine Lake and another one for Cross Lake, to look at what phosphorus loading is actually happening in the lakes and if alum treatments may be feasible options to help with that. On the bottom there, it shows that we were able to provide $118,000 of cost share this last year and leveraged an additional $35,000 in partner match, which I think is about 30% of those funds, which we generally try and do at 25%. So we exceeded that a little bit, which is exciting. Of those projects, 7 of the projects were water resource projects, included shoreline restorations, buffer plantings, and a few well sealings. Forestry staff saw the completion of 5 forestry projects. Brush management, woody residue management were 2 of our biggest ones. A brush management project is essentially working on mitigating buckthorn and other non-desirable woody material in the forest. Woody residue treatment is to help clean up storm damage. So some of those, we're still working with some landowners who had some damage from that ice storm, snowstorm from 2 years ago or 3 years ago, 23, that had caused some significant damage in our landscape in our area. We also saw the completion of a hay and pasture planting and pollinator planting. We do a lot of soil best management practices. We had quite a few set up to do this year, so we should see some more of those happen as well. And to note, those are projects that we were directly assisting with funding. That does not count the projects that we work with NRCS or other partners that we just are providing technical support on. So as a result, we reduced about 23.8 tons of sediment per year going into our water and about 33.4 pounds of phosphorus per year. And talking about phosphorus, just a reminder, 1 pound of phosphorus can fuel about 500 pounds of algae a year. So very significant player in the pollution and in those algal blooms in our lakes. So it's important to try and mitigate that. In addition to project implementation, we've also been working on protection in Pine County land protection. Our 2 biggest ones are the RIM program with the Reinvest in Minnesota, which is a state easement program, and the Sustainable Forest Incentive Act, or SFIA. Our staff were successful in writing 21 woodland stewardship plans for landowners that equaled about 2,800 acres. About 1,200 or 1,300 of those acres are newly enrolled acres into the Sustainable Forest Incentive Program. We had 3 RIM easements completed last year, and there's 6 more applications in with Bowser, the state who runs that program. And that application process takes 12 to 18 months generally to go through. Projects we expect to see completed in 2026. We have a manure pit closure near Cross Lake that we're working with a producer to close that. Those are always good to do to reduce incidental nutrient runoff into areas. A gully restoration, which you can see here, which is down in the lower St. Croix area. That was something we were hoping we were going to do late last summer or fall, but due to the federal government shutdown, there were some hangups there with some other situations. So that got postponed to this next year. We have a few tree and shrub establishment, which is a tree planting program that we're working on, and a water and sediment control basin that we are working on with an individual as well. Events. So the last few years, my board has really, with the different funding sources that are coming to us, my board has really recognized the need to communicate that to people and do so. We've really been pushing our outreach the last few years. So last year we led 12 major outreach events. Some of those are our conservation conversations that our Ag Tech does with the University of Minnesota Extension. We held a World Migratory Bird Day at Osprey Wilds. We did a forest land protection event with Carlton SWCD, a conservation cookout, which is the bottom one. We've done that the last few years. We get a lot of folks there. That's usually between 50 and 100 individuals show up to those events. We did an estate planning workshop, which was a first for us, focusing on folks who have large acres of land and what kind of processes they can do to ensure that those acres stay the way that they want. So that was a new one for us. We worked with Wild Rivers Conservancy on that. We did a sharptail habitat posting through Pheasants Forever, posting some of the WMAs in the area that have or potentially have sharptails still in the county. And then our Pheasants Forever biologist did a Woman on the Wing outreach too at Wings North. Just a few more pictures of some of the events that we did. We also did a well screening in Rock Lake last fall. It was very successful. We did about double the amount of tests that we thought. It was very successful. We're going to be hosting another one in April at the Rutledge City Hall. And then watersheds. This is going to be a quick overview of what we're doing in the watersheds. I'm happy to come back and talk more in detail about these at some point. I know they're very big and complicated and overall very new concept to many areas of the state. The Nemadji watershed, progress continues to be made. It's primarily in Carlton County. A lot of our area in Pine County is public land anyway, so we don't have a lot of work there, but it is entering its third biennium, or it has started its third biennium, excuse me. Moving into 26, there'll be some more activity happening on the Pine County side. Our water resource tech is engaging with folks on Net Lake and the Net Lake Association. There's some potential shoreline work we may be engaging with landowners, so that's exciting. And then one of our foresters is also going to be working on doing some outreach in that area to develop some more stewardship plans in those areas that are privately owned. The Kettle and Upper St. Croix watershed, this is the largest portion of our county. It's finishing up its first full year of implementation and things are operating relatively smoothly. Major highlights, some of the things that we have, 340 acres of ag BMPs have been implemented. Our 10-year goal in the plan is to implement 1,000 acres of best management practices. So we're well on our way there. We've done 58 acres of forest management, and our 10-year goal for that is 20,000 acres. Forest land protection or enrollment in program. Yes.
Those are private forests, right?
Those are private lands. Those do not count public lands. We did about 5,500 acres of land protection. So that's getting them into the Sustainable Forest Incentive Act easement of some sort. Our 10-year goal is 10,000 acres. So we're halfway there already with just our first year, which is incredible. Moving into 26, we're going to continue to be heavily engaged in this watershed. Like I said, this is the largest area of the county. We do a lot of work in this area, all sorts, anything from forestry to ag to water resources. We do it all in this watershed. We're working on developing the second biennium budget, which is going to be about $1.4 million for that next biennium for that watershed. We'll be available to apply for it in June 2026. So staff in the watershed are currently working on that. Just last week, the policy saw the first draft of the budget and the work plan for that. The current direction will focus more on stream bank and shoreline efforts. We didn't focus a lot on that in this watershed, the first biennium. We were focusing on some other things, some planning and stuff like that. So we're going to start working on some implementation next. The Snake watershed, it's starting to run more smoothly and progress is being made. That one had some ups and downs at first. There's a lot of old politics there, I'll say, that I'm not familiar with, but it was a slow start, but we got things moving. In this last year, we have reduced 111 pounds of phosphorus per year out of that watershed, removed 187 tons of sediment a year that was entering our waters. There was 31 acres of wetland restored and about 2,100 acres of stewardship land for forest land through woodland stewardship plans. A lot of that was enrolled in the Sustainable Forest Incentive Act. So that's our protected acres. Partnership has submitted the budget for the and work plan for the second biennium. We should be hearing back soon for that. If we're going to get approved, I believe the budget for that next biennium is about $1.08 million for the next 2.5 years for that watershed. So that's another big chunk of money. We'll be continuing to be heavily involved in that. Again, the Snake watershed has a lot of different things. Two of our largest lakes in there. There's a lot of agricultural land. We're doing a lot of work in that part of our county. So we hope to have several larger shoreline and stream bank projects funded through that watershed in 2026.
So that kind of work, does that have an impact on what they're doing on, okay?
Yes, I mean, so Pokegama and Cross Lake are at the bottom of the Snake watershed. So everything that's happening north of the watershed, that all flows down. It goes into, depending on the year, the Snake River can flow into Pokegama or can flow out of Pokegama. So that has a huge impact. The Snake River flows through Cross Lake. The efforts that are being done by our partners in the north are going to affect us as well. Some of the work that's going to be done in some of the sub watersheds around Pokegama Lake and around Cross Lake might have a more direct impact on things as well. So, we have to continue to work on that. As Kathy mentioned, these are long-term efforts. We're working on correcting issues and then kind of educating folks so that we can continue to have sustainable landscapes here.
Thank you.
Lower St. Croix, it's on its third biennium of funding. We continue to successfully utilize watershed-based implementation funds in the watershed on a variety of agricultural practices. We've been doing a lot of agricultural work with producers in this area. We've been able to work well with our NRCS partners and their programs as well. We've begun to engage more outreach in this watershed as well. The Pine SWCD led a minor plan amendment to allow cost share for woodland stewardship plans. That watershed is starting to focus more on some of the forestry aspects. There's not a ton of forestry in that watershed, but in the northern section and along the main stem of the Lower St. Croix, there are vulnerable forest landscapes that if we can get them protected or get them back up to functional forest landscapes, that can do a lot of work for the water. Agricultural practices continue to be our major part of work in this watershed, and we'll continue to engage with producers. And we're going to begin to engage forest landowners more aggressively as like I said, as they begin to invest in that. So that's all I have for you guys. Like I said, it's a kind of a big picture of what we kind of accomplished in the last year, what we're looking forward to in 2026. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I have,
Go ahead.
so just because I don't understand some stuff, and you might not be able to answer it, but like we had our 2012 flood, and then I think it was a couple years later, it was 14 or 16 or whatever it was.
Yeah, a couple of other ones right there. Yep.
So my question really is so if you have like the Snake River, because I know what happened to the Kettle. I mean, that thing got scoured.
Yeah.
So my first question is, does that clean a stream in a sense? Because it's carrying so much sediment. I don't know how, but I know it's going to settle in places when it's in like lower downstream where it slows down, right?
So I don't have all the answers, but I know, like, first of all, the Kettle and the Snake are very different hydrologically, so they're going to react differently. Major flooding events like that tend to wash things out. You may have an initial like flush of things, but that is going to end up downstream, eventually the Gulf of Mexico. So
It also washes more in, right?
washes more in because it creates more vulnerable conditions in areas where you have bluffs that have collapsed and things like that. Then you have annual erosion in those areas that may not have been there previously. Around lakes and where there's development, when that structural integrity of the landscape is changing. When you have a major event like that, you don't know how it's going to react, you know? So there's a lot of different things that happen there. It's hard to say, but like you said, there's going to be certain areas that those deposits are going to end up, and that can cause lots of different situations.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Further questions?
Mr. Chair, I would just like to thank Paul and his staff for the great work that I see being done and I hear about being done. You've really done a great job, and I hope you can continue.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen.
I concur with that.
I do have a question. Maybe it's just, so we got 4 watersheds that you're working with. So how do you, and some of them we have, Pine County has a minor part, some a major. Could you just give me a breakdown of how you divide your time between these 4 watersheds?
Yeah, that's a big question. So what we do is what we're focusing on, we look at what the goals and the actions and the watershed plans are and what we as a district can do to accomplish those in smaller portions like the Nemadji, for instance. A lot of the goals and actions are focused in the Carlton County area, so we're not focusing as much in that. Net Lake is probably our biggest concentration area in that watershed, and we are gonna pay some more attention to it this year, but it's probably gonna be a year or 2, and then we'll focus our efforts elsewhere. The Kettle and Upper St. Croix is our largest portion. We're focusing, I would say, the majority of our watershed efforts in that watershed, just because of the vast area that's there. And we as partners, the county and the district, have a big responsibility there to see a lot of that through, just because the majority of the watershed is here. The Snake and the Lower St. Croix are smaller areas, but there's a lot of goals and accomplishments in the plan that are directed into those specific areas. So we do want to concentrate on those as well. So it's really looking at, the biennial, the work plan. Each biennium, there's a work plan associated. So it kind of picks out certain things in the plan that they want to focus on. So we're paying attention to that and seeing how many of those things in the work plan are focused in the county, and then we direct our workload that way. It can be very difficult. Some districts and counties have like 1 watershed or 2 watersheds, and we have a larger portion. There are a few counties that have more than us, but the more that they get, the smaller slivers they have. So it's a very complicated thing, and it's something we're still learning, as the Snake and the Kettle, are just finishing their first biennium, so it's very new to us, and it's definitely shifted how we as a district operate.
It's a long watershed. Okay.
Right.
So do you look at hot button issues first, or do you start top upstream and work your way down? I mean, I always have those
I mean, it
questions.
really depends on the watershed. So there's different, so the Lower St. Croix, which is a very long watershed that starts in, south of Pine City and goes all the way down to like Hastings, right?
Stillwater, yeah.
Yeah, so their idea is, if we can put a lot of funding and a lot of effort into the northern part of that watershed, that's just going to benefit everybody else downstream. So there's a lot of collective support to do work up in our part of the watershed. Others, like the Kettle and Upper St. Croix right now, it is focusing on kind of the I don't want to say low hanging fruit, but the bigger things that like our partners are capable of doing. We've been tackling those first. Hot button topics. I don't know. I try to take those as they come and kind of analyze those, because sometimes they're built up more than what they actually are.
I think of the ones that I went over all these meetings with you, and it's the stormwater from cities is a huge one.
Yeah.
But it's such a cost for that.
Exactly. So, and that's such a new concept for us. I think stormwater management historically has been really associated with larger cities and municipalities and really smaller communities. That's not been a focus, and also they don't have the capacity to do some of the things. So this is an opportunity for them to put some money towards some of those things. So it's new for us, and I think it's new for some of the municipalities as well. So it's just taking time, getting things established and moving forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe one last question for you that I have is, and I know it's not part of your report, and I don't want to reduce it to all that, but something that may be somewhat helpful is a activity dollars per watershed acre. Does that make any, do you understand what I'm driving at there? Because that may just be a helpful piece as far as, the dollars, the dollar impact. Does that make sense?
So what you're saying is how much money we're putting in per watershed per acre?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I could probably find something like that out. I would take a little time, but I can definitely get those numbers together for you.
Great. Any other questions?
I just have a comment.
Yes.
We're kind of lucky in a big portion of the Kettle River watershed because it's so forested already. Pine County is lucky in one sense, right?
Right.
We're doing a lot more protection work than restoration work compared to other areas of the state. In general, Pine County has very good water, no matter where you're at, when you compare to what you're looking at in other parts of the state. So we're very fortunate, and we want to try and keep it that way.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, we'll move on to commissioner updates. We'll start with Council on Aging, Commissioner Hallen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the probably the highlight or low light or whatever is, it used to be the senior linkage line. It's now called the aging pathway line. And that's if people are not understanding things like their Medicare supplement or mom's moving into a nursing home and how do we navigate this? The best advice we can give anybody is to call that senior linkage line or the aging pathway line and get some advice. Unfortunately, during open enrollment, UCare, which was a huge provider in rural Minnesota, pulled out of the whole state, not just Pine County, which there was some confusion about that, but it pulled out of the whole state. And so people that were used to buying their supplemental insurance through UCare, that it was not available. So the aging pathway line got bombed. I mean, they went from probably during open enrollment answering 1,000 calls a day to over 2,000 calls a day. And so the wait times got extensive. They hired on some additional staff. They paid some overtime. They tried to take care of it as best they could, but it was just a huge undertaking. That's leveled off now, and they're working to try to alleviate those problems when open enrollments come up next fall. But it's a huge undertaking. And you or I probably, none of us in this room probably could sit down and answer that phone with any degree of expertise when somebody's asking the questions that they ask about, mom has to go to a nursing home and what do I do next? So anyway, that was probably the number one item. Number two is the uncertainty of the funding of the the Older American Act, which we think of as something that's just been there for everybody forever. And it came under some attack during the fall and during the government shutdown. And And so anyway, that's always a concern for the people that deal with those people. I think we've weathered that storm also. So anyway, we'll keep working on it. The good news is, for me personally, is I'm not the chair of that organization anymore. Terrell Clark is the chair now, and so that gives me a little more breathing room there.
Okay, great. East Central Regional Juvenile Center.
Yeah, we had our meeting, Mr. Chair. Thank you. So at the end of the year thing, so just, I'll give you everybody a little background. So it's a 32-bed facility and 33 beds are spoken for. And 1/4 of the state uses that facility, which is kind of amazing. And then for us, this level, I just got a report for our last, we used 30 bed days out of 31, the last in January. So the main point of the meeting was that there was $174,000 left at the end of the year. So, which we always argue, and I'll talk more about that later, but they put out their projects in for the next year. And so they're going to do a $90,000 courtyard resurface because it's bad. A $40,000 water softener project. And they're going to start doing their window replacements and they're going to start out with $30,000. So the board voted to put it back into the capital reserve then for those projects, because there's a big roof project coming and some other things, but the debate comes down to, and I think I reported the last time I said, so I asked last meeting, like I said, Pine County, for example, we know what we spend and we try to keep 30 to 35% or whatever, you pick a number, 25 to 35% in your reserves so you can run your business. So I asked, do you guys use that model? Nope. We don't have anything like that. So I asked, can we do that? So I never heard nothing back. So then I asked again in this meeting and another commissioner or another person spoke in support of that. So we're going to get that report for our next budget meeting in June, because that would make sense and give us a tool to see, because those extra dollars can come back to the counties that use the facility. It's been done before. So we can get a kickback because we're putting so much money in there. So that's probably the most important thing that happened in that meeting. So I'm going to keep pushing that forward as long as I'm here to get that done. So that's pretty much it.
Mr. Chair, if I
Go
could
ahead.
ask a question.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Ludwig, is our daily use still on a yearly average about 1?
Yeah, well, actually, there's a bunch of non-members that are using it like crazy. That's what's happening. I'm just talking about the member bit. So yeah, it's very used and they shuffle. Like we have this many beds, but like when we're guaranteed a bed, and if there's not a bed there, they'll move somebody because they have other facilities, and if they
Right.
can move, they'll
But
move people so we have room.
Is
So
is our yearly average about 1 person per day?
no, there's stretches where we are.
Yeah,
there's stretches
but
where we're
our
not.
overall yearly average, are we at 0.5, 1.5?
We're probably running 75%, I would guess, Phil, using it and paying the extra. So what's the offset if you pay as you go? I don't know. I mean, that's what we'd have to figure out. But we, at the time, as a board, considered holding a bed. Just because.
Well, because
there's none left.
if we aren't a member and we have a kid that has to go to holding and they don't have a space, and somebody's got to drive that kid to Bemidji or Fargo or someplace.
Exactly. And the fact that we hold the bed, and we'll always be able to get a bed.
Right.
And sometimes we have more than one there. So,
Right.
and they make that work.
Yep.
So
Okay, great.
that's a good question. So
No, is that anything else? Move to Fur Post.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of earth-shattering news to report at this time, but I hopefully in the next few weeks I will, except that We've had 2 meetings where we had staff members from the Historical Society come and present to our small group of people. And, you know, it's one of those things, the first time I knew they were coming, I was kind of loaded for bear, thinking they really jobbed us bad. And now I've come to really appreciate the predicament they were in, they are in, and their willingness to want to be a partner with us, with a group. And whether that group, we haven't defined who's going to be the real leader of that group, but they are really looking for a partnership, and that partnership looks to be something that we could easily handle. There's not, I think if I'm reading the tea leaves right, there's not a financial commitment that we would, the group would have to really overextend itself to. Is that kind of fair, Kelly?
Yep, that is.
We have some more meetings scheduled, and we're trying to put together a regular plan that at this time we don't have developed, but we will soon.
Now, that was the big piece from this last meeting, I think, that I took away from it, was the understanding that the Historical Society is still willing to put in funds with a local partner.
Right.
I hadn't understood that till this last meeting.
I hadn't either. And so that was very welcoming, and so I think I think we'll have a really good product coming out of this, and by the next couple of months.
Okay, we'll move to solid waste.
Solid waste, we met and spent some money because we have to. It's a moving organization that runs, 6 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year. Whether it's 30 below or 96 above, that machinery has to keep running. Those of you that have construction backgrounds and farming backgrounds know that, those loaders and bulldozers and compactors have to run every day. And they run 8, 10, 12 hours a day. And so, stuff wears out. So we're buying a new loader for the Cambridge site, buying a couple new semis and a couple of trailers, walking 4 trailers, and a new skid steer. So those are all budgeted items, and we have them on a rotating basis. So we don't have to buy, for instance, a new loader when we have to buy the same year we have to buy a new compactor, because that compactor, they're about 1.2 million bucks now. At least the last one we bought was, and they don't get any cheaper. The gas system, as you probably remember, we extract methane gas out of the facility, and as much as we can, it gets run through a big cat generator that generates electricity and gets put into the electric grid. The gas has to, it's kind of a moving, those things, as much as we compact them, they still settle. They have water leaches in out of the garbage and from rainwater, and so you have to extract the water, the leachate that's called. So anyway, it's kind of a moving organism, and I think the staff there does a great job of keeping it all running. So that's my report.
Okay, great. Next we have library. I was unable to attend our last library meeting, other than to say that the the commission has received our draft of the joint powers agreement, which our county attorney was working on. So we'll be taking that up in the next couple months, specifically the board members committee. So progress there. Moving on to Northeast Transportation Partnership.
Yes. Mark made mention that we got some bridge money this year because we were patient for a year. I've seen him operate on that Northeast Transportation Alliance for a number of years and know that he's well thought of and able to work that system quite well. So we not have to get our own CASA money, and if there's any federal dollars or state dollars that don't fit in our CASA program, that he's got a project ready to go. So there's a project that we're going to do anyway. It's called resurfacing of Highway 61. And we try to do enough stretches of that in a year. So from the county line to the north to the county line to the south in Rock Creek gets resurfaced about every 20 years. And so he was able to secure $3.15 million for Highway 61 from right around the courthouse location, County Road 11 intersection, up to the freeway south of Hinckley. That work will take place in 2020-30. So 4 years from now. So anyway, I'm always struck by the fact that these road plans and bridge plans, when we look at those 5-year plans that Mark puts together and our transportation committee looks at, those are real documents, and you have to plan that far ahead because that's how the money flows and that's how the work schedules have to flow. Anyway, that was a good meeting for Pine County.
Okay, Soil and Water Conservation District, and you want to cover the Upper St. Croix at the same time?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A little extreme through here. We had our meeting on February 11th. They approved an alum study on Cross Lake, Pine Lake, and Big Pine Lake. If you heard the stats for that same problem. The thing that intrigues me is now they're running a free well test out of there that you can get. And the free part is for nitrates and chloride. And if you request more on there's a fee, but they're going to have some outpouring stuff on that. I thought maybe we could figure out some way to get something out too. The other thing that fascinated me was that Miss Arn, the water person, she created a short video. Just super informative about what it takes to go through a shoreline, to get some work on your shoreline. It's easy to watch online because that's why everybody does anything now. It's not very long, a minute and a half or something like that, but it just bounces to the points. And then there's a click then if you're on that you can get the paperwork, whatever, how it's laid out and what you have to go through to get the job. So I thought, can we send that to work that out with our people, so if somebody's on the county website, that they could have a connection to SWCD or whatever. So I talked to Ryan or whatever, and they can figure it out. And she's going to ask her, she can make those connections, but we'll see. We'll see if she does. So that was a really good thing. And then the other stuff is all the egg stuff and that stuff. That was pretty not much. So like Paul said, they talk about their 2026 work plan, and the main plan is the major focus is going to be on the 4 watersheds. So, and the work that's going to happen there. And then they approved a well sowing project, and that was for 2,625. And then they approved some Kettle River project, the one watershed, one plant project for $7,176.
Other than that, it was pretty much a general meeting. That'll be my report, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Law Library, Chair Moore is gone. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
So, Mr. Chair, we just had a rather brief meeting, but a lot of our discussion really centers on what is the future of the law library in a digital world and media. And so our latest thing is we're going to implement a survey that hopefully patrons will fill out to see if we should be changing direction on things.
Question for you. Does the public access the law library and to what extent?
Yeah, the public does access it. It's open to the public. It's meant to be a public resource, and we have a lot of self-represented people nowadays. That's become fairly popular. The second part of the question, the extent, is we're kind of unclear about that because a lot of it's print material. We have one Westlaw terminal. Most people do a lot of the research on Westlaw or maybe AI assisted, and so there's been some conversation. I'm kind of the opinion that maybe we should just have digital terminals like Westlaw and Lexis are the two popular legal resource sites, and maybe phase out some of the print materials because those aren't getting used.
Well, interesting, yes. Great.
Mr. Chair?
Yep, yes, go ahead.
Can, Reese, that Westlaw, does that have to be viewed at a terminal in the courthouse, or is that an online thing that somebody could do at home?
It's a great question, Commissioner. So this one, that login is particular to that terminal
Okay.
in the courthouse, and Westlaw is very, very expensive, and they have essentially a monopoly. So I think it would probably be cost prohibitive if we were able to open that up to do an at-home viewing for the public.
Okay.
It saved my office money because that's I'd get rid of my subscription and do that, but yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, any other meetings?
Yeah, I had Upper St. Kettle River, Upper St. Croix. It was a quick one. We elected a chair and vice chair, so Kim is still the chair and Gary's still the vice chair. They agreed for Pine County to be the fiscal agent for the dollars for the next biennium. And then it was just a general discussion at that, but I reached out to the Bowser person that was there because we had discussions as a board on, like, how do we make a wetland bank? You know, and what do you want to do? So she's gonna get back to me and give us the paperwork, just kind of, there's a process to go through. So I'm keeping that pedal on that one too, so anyway, that was it, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Anything else? Any other commissioner meetings? Okay, if not, look at the upcoming meetings between now and our next meeting. I guess we've reached the end of our agenda, so I'll declare our meeting adjourned.
Mr. Chair
Yes.
and Kelly, I had planned on being home by